What's up, fantasy football people? Welcome into the fantasy football channel. We are the Schluter Bros, and trust us, you're in the right spot. We are getting you draft ready. It's the dawn of the 2025 fantasy football season. Adam, spill it, spit it out. Where are we heading today?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are headed to Foxborough to discuss the good old New England Patriots. Kyle, how you doing today?
Oh, living the dream. The fantasy season is upon us.
Oh man, we're getting closer. It's July, but I'm getting excited, god dang it all. Alrighty, folks. Today we are starting with a buy or sell round. Recent NFL action, overviewing the Patriots 2024 season. Most importantly, we are breaking down all the fantasy relevant players and giving you that insight. Finishing with our O-line breakdown, New England acquisitions and coaching breakdown as well. So grab yourself a Boston Sour, a New England cider, a Cape Codder, or a Brass Monkey, and let's get it going.
Ooh, brass monkey.
Right? That sounds delicious.
All right, I'll
Never
start
had.
off with our buy or sell segment here.
Here we go.
Adam, this is buy or sell at ADP. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Standard one quarterback league, correct?
Standard scoring, one QB league at
Love it.
ADP. Patrick Mahomes, 54th overall. Are you buying or are you selling?
Patrick Mahomes did me a little dirty last year
Oh,
in our
he
two
did.
quarterback league. I
You
had him as my
stacked it with Kelsey. They did you double dirty.
ninth overall pick in a 2 QB league. I am selling Mahomes this year. The defense is too good. They do not need Mahomes to throw as much as he has in the past. I love that Rashee Rice is coming back, but I am selling, folks. Sorry, Mahomes.
Okay, next one. CJ Stroud at ADP 117.
I like that. The world is doing this young man dirty. What an amazing rookie campaign he had. I am buying this all day. He's got Nico Collins. He's got Tank Dell. He's got a new rookie or two out there. I
Ooh.
love it.
Okay. And the last one I got for you, Marvin Harrison Jr., 41 overall.
He was a little overvalued last year. This one's actually a really tough one for me. I am going to buy it because I do believe in this
Ooh.
cat. But last year he let people down, and I do not think that's going to happen again this year. They're going to force feed him that ball. Buying, buying, buying.
Okay.
Are you ready, young man?
I'm ready.
Alrighty. First and foremost, buying or selling off ADP. Kyron Williams, 26 overall ADP, folks.
This may be a little unpopular, but I'm going to sell Kyron Williams at
Ooh,
ADP.
that's a dirty, dirty thing. Why is that?
I don't think how hard he runs. He's a great physical running back, touchdown machine. I just see regression there for him.
That's fair. Next up, we got Devontae Adams, 37th ADP for the old legendary Devontae.
I love Devontae Adams, but I am selling. 37th is high for a 32-year-old receiver, in my opinion,
And on a new team. That's
and
way
on
too
a new
high.
team. So I like it, but I like the player, but that's way too steep for me.
I feel like you normally have some shares of Devontae, though, across the board.
Not this year, not at that price.
Yep, that's fair. Last but not least, another Kansas City Chiefs, Xavier Worthy, 62 overall ADP.
This one I will buy. I don't mind the
Ooh.
ADP here. I feel like he has quite a bit of upside, big play guy. And at the end of last season, him and Mahomes connected. And I think the connection with Rashee Rice could still take a little while to get back to that chemistry. And either way, I think this guy is the speed guy, the big play guy in this offense. So historically that's been good. So I would buy this.
Love that. Get out your Capital One Platinum cards for Xavier Worthy, folks. We are moving on. We are going into the NFL news. What is relevant? What is recent? I'll tell you what's recent to start off here. The New York Jets have locked up the outside of both the offense and defensive sides of the ball. They signed Garrett Wilson to a 4-year, $130 million contract, $90 million guaranteed. Kyle, how would that be seeing that into your checking account?
Cheers. Congratulations, G. Wilson. Well received after a tough year last year, in my opinion. And I got you on Dynasty Squad, man. So let's ball out.
Love that. And on the other side of the ball, Sauce Gardner, 4-year, $120 million contract, $60 million guaranteed. I might add, folks, this is the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. Good for you, Sauce. You're an absolute freak on the outside. One thing, kids, if you're listening out there, what does this teach you? Learn to catch the football because offense gets you paid. If you can catch that football, Garrett Wilson is not as good as Sauce Gardner on that side, but he got paid way more money. But congrats to you guys. This is the future of the New York Jets.
Yeah, I like it. Good for those guys.
Absolutely.
Okay. Who's still free agent? And do we care? Amari Cooper. Last year, I think I had a share of him, and I should have not. I didn't. Doesn't matter. Keenan Allen. Last year, he did produce some touchdowns while Caleb was a rookie. So I guess there could be some value there, depending where he goes.
Yep.
Gabe Davis. Well, I'll let you take Gabe the Babe.
Gabe, I don't think he's ever going to play NFL football again. At least I hope not. Sorry, Gabe.
Maybe they
Learn
should
to catch the ball.
maybe they should try him on defense. Like
Yep,
they're
there
doing
you
with
go.
Hunter. Maybe he'll have a better chance there. He doesn't actually have to catch. He can just swat at it.
Love that.
So that'd be my recommendation. Try out for quarterback, Gabe. Go ahead.
Amari Cooper's 31, Keenan Allen's 33. Kyle, do you see a landing spot for either one of these players this year? And if so, maybe where? Anywhere coming to mind where these guys might get signed?
I think if they get signed, it would be maybe a team that needs a little depth mid-season that can compete and can contend. Otherwise, why would you just go with somebody younger, build up your team if you're not competing? But we know injuries happen, so that's where I could see it the most.
That's fair. I mean, I think the team we're going to discuss today could easily add one of these veterans just to help lead some of these young cats, but we'll break that down. Last news for the day, folks. Chargers place Mike Williams on the PUP. When is this guy not injured? I mean, freak athlete, great on the outside, can catch the ball at the high point, but my God, man, get some ice baths in you, do something. We are moving on to the New England Patriots overview. The AFC East, they were the bottom of the division last year at 4-13. Ton of changes to this team. Last year, total offense, 31st, 291 yards per game, 30 total touchdowns. Passing, 32nd, 176 passing yards per game, 18 total passing touchdowns. Rushing, 13th. We know the Patriots do like to run the football and force it down the defense's throat. 115 yards per game, 11 rushing TDs. The other two things I'm going to add, I was very surprised by this, guys. The Vegas win-loss total projections for this team is 8.5. So more than double their wins last year. Kyle, what do you think about that?
Well, I'll recap your overview here. Dead last in the division. They were a very bad football team. It was bad to watch all the way around. I think they ran the ball so much because they couldn't protect the quarterback and they just wanted to get out of games. So just run out the clock as much as possible.
Get him off the field.
Seriously. Odds, I do think they're a little steep. However, a couple of acquisitions, revamped offensive line. Drake Maye has some potential here for some progression going forward into his second year. And they have one of the easiest schedules in the entire NFL. Okay. So I do think they could sneak out that many wins. However,
9?
I would take the under for sure.
I would too. I would want to take the under on that.
Yeah. Could happen though, but I would bet on the under.
All right.
You ready to get into the meat and potatoes?
Lead it like you got it, baby. Let's do it.
The fantasy football players.
Hey.
We'll start off at QB. Drake Maye, your two guy. Early projections are QB 15 on ESPN. Finished as QB 22. His current ADP is 116. I just want to take a little note. He is ahead of guys like Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, and Tua. Last year, he had 2,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 10 picks, and he ran for just over 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. When I watched some of his highlights from last year, I did see he can throw fairly well. And I saw a lot of running highlights, just like 10-yard clips. Like those were a lot of his highlights. That was kind of interesting for me. So he does have a little bit of rushing upside. The games he played, he took over the starting role in week 6, played 13 games, and he finished right around 14 points per game.
Yep.
So to me, one QB league, I'm out. I don't even want him on my bench, to be honest. Two QB league, I can see super flex QB2, take a shot on him, fine. I think the offensive line is still very unproven to me. A new cast at Stefon Diggs for his wide receiver one, you got to think can only help him.
Yep.
He had a lot of very unproven receivers around him last year, so they've tried to shore that up a little bit. And you have Josh McDaniels as the new offensive coordinator. So I can make a case. I could make a bull case for him. However, for fantasy football this year, I'm leaning towards staying away until he proves it. Adam, what is your take on Drake May this year?
Yes, sir. Drake May, this is nothing against you, my man, but I'm gonna do you a little dirty today. The only good thing I'm gonna say is your rushing upside, and that begs the question is whether you had to rush because you were getting chased around because your offensive line was so bad. But QB 15, are you kidding me, folks? I'm gonna break this down with who is projected after him. Okay, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Tua, Stafford, and Stroud. Those are 5 quarterbacks that I would easily take well ahead of Drake May. And why? All of those quarterbacks are way more proven,
Mm-hmm.
way better weapons around them. CJ Stroud, 3 great weapons around him, much better offense, much more proven in his rookie and sophomore year. Love, way more weapons, much better offense, way more proven. Jared Goff, one of the best offenses in the NFL, way more proven, way more weapons. I mean, those are 5 cats that are going to go in front of May, or at least they should. So May is overvalued. I don't know what the NFL world is thinking here. They revamped the O line, which we'll get into, but he's an unproven kid with unproven new weapons around him. I am selling on this all day long. If it was outside the top 22, I think that's more of a fair value. But anything in front of that, you have so many better options, guys, especially in those 2 QB leagues. Do not reach for May unless you think that rushing upside is going to turn into Mike Vick. Outside of that, I'm out.
Yeah, that's the bear case there. And I just think on the bull case, to speak to him a little bit, you project a year two progression. You have a new coordinator who's been historically a good offensive coordinator, obviously most well known for working with Tom Brady. Um, and the hard part for me though is also Mike Vrabel is the new head coach here and his return to New England. That's a physical. He wants to be a physical team. He wants to run the ball.
All day.
Exactly. And I mean, I like Stefon Diggs. I just feel like the hype around Stefon Diggs and some of Drake May's flashes from year one, I feel like that's completely priced in. So, I would bet that it goes a little bit the other way, and these guys can still have a good season
Yep.
for what that is. But to me, they're not a competing team. This is not a high-powered offense. They're not going to pass a
Nope.
lot. They're not going to put up a lot of fantasy points.
Nope.
So I see him as QB2 for two QB leagues or super flex. I'm fine with that. One QB, you can't be happy with him as your first QB, and all those guys
No
around him, I
chance.
would also prefer as streaming quarterbacks above him.
Yep. Yep.
Pending matchups, he does have a good strength of schedule, so that is one thing to his favor.
Sure.
But it's something for me. You got to make him. I got to see it a little bit more, and
Got to
how
prove
all
yourself.
these pieces fit together. You think
Yep.
about how Rodgers was hyped up with the Jets, revamped offensive line, the coaches, etc. And I granted that was an injury, but even after the injury, you were still disappointed.
Yep. Absolutely. The last positive nugget I will say, I do think Drake May will have a good career. I just do not think it'll be this year. I think it's going to take a year or two for this team to come together. Without further ado, we are going to talk about his number one diva. And there's a big fat question mark with this guy in Stefon Diggs. Early projection, 45th wide receiver. There is some value there. He finished 70th last year. ADP is currently 101. Let us refresh everybody. In week 8, he tore his ACL. He is 31 years old. A 31-year-old coming off an ACL injury is not ideal. There's lots of uncertainty here with this guy. He's on a new team. He might not even play in the first couple weeks. He could be put on the pup. Just to refresh everybody, Diggs' first 8 weeks last year, in week 1 going up, 6 catches, 30 yards, 2 tutties. 4 catches, 30 yards. 10 catches, 90 yards. 5 catches, 70 yards. 6 catches, 80 yards. 6 catches, 70 yards. 5 catches, 20 yards. So, I mean, really, he's averaging 5 or 6 catches, which is decent enough, but he only had 3 touchdowns in those first 8 weeks, and not once did he go over 100 yards. And that was before he tore his ACL. And this is his fourth team he's played for: Vikings, Bills, Texans, and now Patriots. I think this is at best the top end wide receiver, too. Someone I am not looking for, plus offseason issues, doing his pink drugs with the ladies on the boat. That is not something Mike Vrabel's about, okay? That Mike Vrabel and the Patriots organization does not put up with crap like that. If he has another stint, he might be bye-bye. Kyle, thoughts?
ADP 101. I mean, I don't mind his ADP. However, I mean, listen to his ESPN projections for 2025. 96 targets, 68 catches, 759 yards, and 3 touchdowns. No one is going to be happy with that. If you
No.
have him in fantasy, you're not going to be happy with that.
Nope.
So I'm going to find myself likely out on him. And it's just
Yep.
built. I think there's a little bit of hype built in. However, I do feel like he will have weeks. If he's somehow on your roster, they have some favorable matchups. I feel like he could have some good weeks. So
Yes.
put that in for whatever it is. That's my feelings on him.
Yeah, I guess the last positive nugget I'll try and spin is he's the number one current weapon on a team that may be playing from behind quite a bit. So we could get some serious garbage points out there. Outside of that, no thank you.
Okay. Next guy, Kyle Williams, rookie wide receiver. Current ADP 174. So he's like wide receiver 6 territory. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if that's interesting to you in any format, then you can take a chance on him. I'm going to be out on him. ESPN's projections, almost 50 catches, 590 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's a speed guy, 5'10", 190 pounds. Um, I think him and the next guy, DeMario Douglas, whichever one you find in the slot more, would have the upside in a PPR league, is what I see being a deep value PPR sneaky guy in your lineup occasionally, is where I see the most value with this receiving core.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a flyer. Like you said, the thing I like the most is his slot potential. And we know McDaniels does really, really good with slot receivers.
Yeah.
This guy's 5'10", 190 pounds, classic wide receiver, Patriots potential there. A little bit of Wes Welker, a little bit of Edelman reminder. He's good with yards after the catch. However, in college, he did have issues with drops. And that's another thing on this Patriots organization. If you are not wonderful with the fundamentals, you will not see the field. So that has me a bit concerned there as well. But we'll see what he can do. We'll see what he can do. This Patriots wide receiver room is, it's kind of a little bit of a mystery out there because there's so many players that could do well. He's one of them that could do well, but it's hard to say. Anything else on your boy Kyle?
No, why don't you talk about DeMario Douglas and then we'll kind of talk about some of the other guys, honorable mentions. Mack Hollins comes over from Buffalo.
Yep.
He was a decent part of the offense in Buffalo for the receiving room. He wasn't really much for fantasy, but
Mr. Barefoot.
he did make some decent plays. Mr. Barefoot, that is cool. He walks
Always
into the
grounded.
stadiums barefoot.
Always grounded with the earth. What an earth natural type of cat that guy is.
And then you also have Kendrick Bourne and Keyshawn Booty. So a lot of guys that are honestly very similarly skilled and younger guys. So it's hard. It's going to be in an offense that doesn't pass the ball a lot, is how I see this. So
Yep.
maybe somebody can emerge in the slot as Drake's go-to guy, and you can get some PPR value. I think that's as best as I can see it for the receivers on fantasy in this team. What's your
Sure.
takes on that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to dive into the one shining light. We've done this team a little bit dirty early and often here. However, DeMario Douglas, I think, is the shining light. He is the sleeper pick within this team. And let me tell you a little bit why. Early projection, wide receiver, 74th, which is abysmal. Last year, he finished 62nd. Current ADP, 196. So if you want this guy, you can easily get him. He is the only receiver in this Patriots team that is returning and has some camaraderie with the organization and with the offense. This is his third year with New England. And in the last 2 years, he paced the team in targets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last year, he had 87 targets, 66 catches, 621 yards on 3 touchdowns. I believe he's going to get another year better. Again, he's the only one with camaraderie and a sense of feel for how this offense works. He is a very small guy. He is 5'8", 179 pounds. I think he is going to be the true slot machine that McDaniels takes under his wing and turns him into the next Edelman-esque, Wes Welker-esque cat on this offense. Okay, he's only 24 years old. He's got speed, he's got hands, and again, I think just due to the history he has with the team, he is your best sleeper pick, and you can get him for next to nothing. So I like Douglas. He is the one receiver I will try and sneak and pick up at the back end of drafts. I do have him in Dynasty as well because of what I just said. I like him. And outside of that, it's really a question mark with everyone else on this team because they haven't been there yet. And it's all unproven minus this guy.
Yeah, I think that is the, upside situation if you're in a PPR format and this guy becomes a go-to slot guy.
Yep.
And the ESPN, interestingly enough, actually has him down on targets, receptions, and yards from last year to this year. So I find
I
that
think they don't know what they're. Sorry.
don't
I
know.
don't. I think they don't know what they're doing because there's 6 guys and they're like, well, who the
Yeah.
heck's it gonna be? And we're like, all
Yeah,
right, well,
they
we'll
have
just
no
knock
idea
everyone
what to
down.
make of this receiving
Everyone's
room.
going to get 50 targets and 30 catches, and we're just going to say that to be safe. I think that's the mindset they
Yep.
had with it. They are not, sticking their head out by any means for any player on this offense in the receiver room.
Yeah, my final comments on the receiving room would be as watch closely the first couple weeks. See
Mm-hmm.
who is getting the targets, see who
Yep.
is active on the field, getting the snaps, and who's making plays. And
Yep.
if they're available or not, that's probably when I would add them to my roster because most of these people are going to be free agents potentially. Unless
Yes, sir.
you see some early signs of preseason or somewhere else where one of them is getting more work or getting hyped up, sure, take a chance if you want. It doesn't
Yep.
cost you anything other than Diggs.
Yep, absolutely. Last thing I want to say about Douglas, since I gave him the bright spot, he ran 79% of his routes last year in the slot. Again, so he is their slot guy. And with Diggs going to catch some attention on the outside, I think that's going to allow him some man coverage. And I think that's where, the most potential is going to be. Kyle, I'm going to put you on the spot outside of Douglas. If you had to pick one of these guys at ADP, which one would it be?
Well, it would be Diggs
Okay. Okay.
just for the
Fair enough.
chance that he returns to somewhat of his form and makes some
Yeah.
big plays,
Yep.
He has the
Absolutely.
highest probability on this team to make big plays and to be a producer. It's just
Yep.
he's also more expensive.
Yes, he is. All right. I love it. We are moving on from the divas and the question mark of those divas. We'll see how those first few weeks turn out. And we are moving on to what the Patriots offense is known for, which is running the dang football. And between Vrabel and McDaniels, this is what they're going to do this year. I'm going to lead us off here with the rookie, TreVeyon Henderson. And I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. He was selected by New England in the 2nd round. He was an Ohio State running back, and Ohio State's running backs are usually amazing, and they usually have at least 2 that are top 10 and amazing. What I love most about this, he paced college football with 7.1 yards per carry at Ohio State. That's a crap ton of yards per carry. I mean, my God, if you imagine
That's
having run
very
the football
high.
at 7 yards. I mean, I know it's college where that happens, but
Mm-hmm.
that is insane. If he can bring any bit of that tenacity to the NFL, he's going to do just fine. On top of this, what I love about him, he's a great pass blocker, which is going to keep him on the field, and he's a great pass catcher. So he has PPR value there as well. The last thing I'll say here is ESPN projections: 199 carries, 880 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns. For receptions, 43, 300 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So that's his projection a total of 163 fantasy points. And I really think in the back end of this year, when it comes playoff time, when it comes important time, this guy is going to step up. They're going to feed him 15 to 20 carries a game, and he is going to be a great value in a lot of our leagues. The only thing I might not have mentioned, he's early projected RB 27th and ADP 53rd overall.
To me, it's a sexy rookie pick.
Yep.
I think at 53 overall, it's kind of priced in for his production if he does that right out of the gate. I could see a little more receiving work and fantasy points that way for him. So
Hmm.
I would lean toward a little more excited about him for PPR.
Sure.
And he could be a guy like a lot of other rookie running backs where slower start, but then, you get a couple fumbles from Rhamondre Stevenson, and then this guy's getting a lot of work.
Yep.
Anything else you want
Absolutely.
to talk about Henderson?
No, I like him. I think he fits the offense well. It's a run-heavy offense. He's a good value. I think taking him just in front of his ADP is fair if you like rookie running backs and you believe in him.
Do you see him as getting first and second down work?
I absolutely do. Maybe not in the first couple weeks as he gets a little comfier with things because Rhamondre is a little bit of the bigger cat on that offense.
Hmm.
But I absolutely do see him getting first and second down work, especially as the season progresses. And he has the potential to be a 3-down back. I know the Patriots won't do it like that. They'll keep multiple runners in there. But yes, to answer your question.
Okay. All right. Rhamondre Stevenson, I see as more their workhorse, especially in the beginning of the season. Early projections are RB 34. He finished as RB 27th last year, and ADP is 114. He had over 200 carries, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. So he'd also be the guy to me that is going to run in the red zone for
Mm,
standard scoring. I think that's quite a bit more valuable.
yep.
His big downside, obviously, at the end of last year, he put the ball on the ground a record amount of times. I think it was around 7.
Shouldn't have had that
And
popcorn. Every game he's having popcorn before, buttery hands. My God.
and then basically Gibson came in to take over his work because he kept fumbling the ball. However, I do think as far as a pure runner in the NFL, he's a bit proven. And this is someone who's been hyped up the last few years and had higher ADP and draft capital and just is kind of underperformed. So to me, he is somebody that this year is more of a value pick. They bring in
Yep.
this, second round rookie. Everybody kind of thinks maybe Stevenson's left for dead. So I see fantasy value that way. Standard scoring, especially. I think he'll be the one to score. And especially, I think at the beginning of the year and at a budget ADP, I don't mind some Stevenson.
All right. I respect that. I'll kind of echo that a bit here. I do think it's a good value potential pick because he's going to get a lot of volume. And
I think so
anytime you're
too in
talking
this offense.
fantasy, you
Hmm.
want volume, and he is going to get volume with one caveat. If he coughs that ball up once early on,
Then
his
it's going to
butt
be
is going to
tough.
be on the bench because they
Yep.
have someone more athletic behind him. So that is a huge risk. But then again, when you talk about his ADP, it's not that much of a risk because you didn't pay that much for him.
That's
But
exactly how I
seven
see it.
fumbles, yeah, 7 fumbles last year. That's too much, man. That's disgusting. Patriots organization does not put up with that crap.
Hmm. And Gibson, third on the depth chart. I don't see myself having any Gibson in any format,
No, sir, me neither.
but he'll be involved in the offense, just enough to be
Yeah,
annoying for your fantasy team.
just enough to piss you off.
Hmm. Okay, tight ends. Take her away, Adam.
Hunter Henry, early projection, tight end 16th. And last year he finished as tight end 15th. Overall ADP
Well, hey,
162. Well, hey.
that's one of the
This is
closest ones we've seen,
that's
especially
exactly what I
for
was gonna
tight
say.
ends.
This is the first tight end that ESPN has not shot back 5 to 10 spots for their
Yes,
projections. I do like Hunter Henry. I think he's another streamer type tight end where he is going to relieve pressure off of Drake Maye for those easier routes and those linebacker coverages. It's his 5th season in New England. I think he had a career best 20% of the target share last year. 97 targets, 66 catches, 2 touchdowns. A lot of targets. I mean, if you're getting 100 targets for a tight end, that has some fantasy worth. Um,
hmm.
as a tight end, like I
Okay.
said, a tight end 2 or tight end streamer, you go.
Okay, so what I'll say here is since we're talking about this share, his targets last year, 97 targets last year, that's a good amount for a tight end.
Yep.
And only 2 touchdowns. So now this is a
Mhm.
player. If you're expecting improvements from this offense, Drake May, a better coordinator, I think you could put quite a few more touchdowns under this guy's belt and have
Yeah.
a little bit of fantasy upside here, in my opinion. So that is something I don't mind on this team as well.
100%. If you punt at tight end, he's one I'd be willing to scoop up just for that.
Okay. Anything else on the fantasy guys?
No, that was a fun little run. I hope we didn't do them too dirty, but nonetheless, I think we were fair.
Yeah. So I think for me, just to recap, on the team in general, PPR league, I don't mind the rookie running back. I think he could come on strong second half of the year.
Yeah.
And then other than that, for value, I don't hate Stevenson this year. You're not paying up for him, and I think he still could get most of the work at the beginning of the year in what's a run heavy offense with a favorable schedule. So I don't mind that. You get him
Standard
as
league
where
is
he is. If you could
especially.
flex him against some juicy matchups at the beginning of the season, I mean, bank it, man. That's how I see it.
Play him against Miami. Miami's run defense is pitiful, so
Yeah,
don't be
no,
afraid to
they
plug him
play
in for
them
those two
twice a
games.
year. So yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about the coaching, the big change. Obviously, turbulent 2024 season under Gerard Mayo, who was fired after going 14 or 4-13. Patriots brought back Mike Vrabel, former linebacker who played there. He's also well known for his head coaching in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's a physical, aggressive, run heavy defense side of the ball is his strategy. So to me, it also limits the upside for the receivers and the quarterback with this coaching.
Yep.
But I think it gives a boost to the running backs.
100% with you, man.
And Josh McDaniel, offensive coordinator, he also returns to the Patriots. So they got a couple of former guys returning to the organization. I like it. It's been rough ever since Tom Brady, Bill Belichick leaving. So I like this. And he's a very good offensive minded guy, and he tends to do well with the players that he has, whatever that is. He's well known for his work with Wes Welker and Julian Edelman in the slot with Tom Brady as the quarterback. We talked a little bit about that. If one of those receivers can come through and fill that role, that could have PPR value. And then he's still going to rely on the run game with Mike Vrabel, so we like the value there. And then Hunter Henry has some potential touchdown progression, in my opinion. So that's kind of where I see it. Any thoughts there, Adam?
Yeah, I think this organization is heading in the right direction, and they are putting the right pieces in place for a longer term run. And between the coaching staff, between the quarterback changes, between them fixing the offensive line, they are putting things in the right place. And I respect the heck out of that. I do.
Yep.
I just don't think this is the year it's going to shine. I think you need a year or two to let everyone get to know each other, let everyone get used to these schemes. And once that's in motion, they're going to be a tough team to beat in a year or two.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I really like that they bring in Mike Vrabel, but then they also bring in Josh McDaniels because those
Yeah, it's a
guys,
1-2.
those are a good 1-2 punch on paper.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, why don't you talk about the O line? It was the worst in the NFL last year, I believe. Are we going
It
to get
was
any
not
better this year?
it was not good. The preseason before last year they were ranked 32nd. They ended up finishing 23rd. However,
It
they
was
made some
bad.
substantial changes. Again, they were bad and that they were very bad, but they made some substantial changes and they addressed it, which I love. Three new additions: Morgan Moses, Garrett Bradbury, and their first round overall pick and their left tackle Will Campbell. This unit is new and fresh together. Anytime you have three new guys in there, you don't love to see that. They're gonna have to figure some things out on the fly a bit. But as we know, it's going to be a downhill running scheme, which is going to play to any newer offensive lineman's strength, just so that way they can just lean forward and run people the heck over. So I love that they brought in some new pieces. I think Josh McDaniels is going to do well with this offensive line. Mike Owen, sorry, Mike. He was their best. he was he was their best piece last year, and their only bright spot. They're going to shift him to the inside, so that way Campbell can be left tackle. So they have some strengths in here. Left
Mm-hmm.
to right, we got Will Campbell, the rookie, Cole Strange, left guard, Garrett Bradbury at the center, Mike Onwenu at the right guard, and Morgan Moses at the right tackle. So I like it. They addressed it. They knew Drake Maye needed some help here. They addressed it. I love that. I think give them 4 to 6 weeks, and this line will be a lot more rock solid. Has potential to be in the middle marker of offensive lines. That's about what I got for it.
Okay. So we hope good enough to give Drake May some time for him
Yeah,
to
don't get them
progress.
killed. Yep.
And we hope good enough for those two backs to have strong years and outperform their ADP.
Yep. And I think those backs will. With these
Okay.
offensive line changes, I think they will.
Okay. I will go through offensive moves, free
Yes,
agency
sir.
offseason. The big one, Stefon Diggs, 3 years, $69 million deal. 26 million guaranteed. It's at least something for defenses to be like, okay, we do know this guy. He can run, he can catch. We should probably cover him instead of all of the younger, no-name players in previous years. Backup quarterback Joshua Dobbs. Mack Hollins comes over for Buffalo. Possession receiver. He'll help be on offense. We don't see him being really valuable for fantasy in any format.
Well, we'll
Offensive
watch his
tackle.
entrances, his
But
barefoot
watch,
entrances.
but watch how he enters the stadium on game
Those are
days.
fun. Those
He
are
doesn't
fun.
wear shoes. And offense tackle, as you mentioned, Morgan Moses signed a 3 year deal.
Veteran. Yep.
Center Garrett Bradbury signed a 2 year deal.
Yep.
And then some re-signings, second tight end, Austin Hooper, and offensive line, Ben Brown, offensive line, DeMontre Jacobs, and wide receiver, Jaquan Jackson. Notable departures, quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, quarterback, Joe Milton, and center, David Andrews. So not a lot there, really, offensively. Draft picks, fire away.
Yes, sir. First and foremost, number 4 overall, Will Campbell, best tackle in the draft. I love this pick. We already talked about it a little bit. They're shoring him up with Maye, helping protect that blind side. Love that. Nothing but great things to say about this offensive tackle out of LSU. As we know, pick number 2, TreVeyon Henderson on Ohio State. Also love this pick. I think overall they did a great job in this draft. TreVeyon Henderson is going to be a star someday. I absolutely believe in that with how Ohio State produces their running backs. Number 3, Kyle Williams. We discussed him a little bit, more of a slot guy. We'll kind of see what he can do within this strange wide receiver room. In round 3, they also got Jared Wilson, the center. Round 4, safety Craig Woodson. And also in round 4, defensive tackle Joshua Farmer. And round 5, Braden Swinson, also out of LSU. They got a kicker, Andy Borregales, out of
Gotta have a
Miami.
kicker. Oh, yeah.
And then 3 seventh rounders, offensive tackle, safety, and long snapper. Okay. So I think they did what they needed to do in this draft. They went offense early and often. Their first 4 picks were offensive players. That's what they needed to address.
Two
So I
of
like
which
what
were
they did in the
linemen.
draft. Yep, absolutely. So I very much like what they did in the draft. They're shoring up their offensive line. They're getting another weapon in both the backfield and the receiving room. So I love all of that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see if these guys can put it together and show us some fantasy impact this year. We talked about who we're high on and who we're low on. Adam, your final thoughts on this team?
Yeah, there's some cats on the scene that have some value, like we discussed, which I'm excited about. I think they're about a year out from truly being, a 9 or 10 team win, 10 win
Win?
team. Wow, that's tough out there. The only other thing I want to say is next week, folks, we have, and by next week I mean 2 days from now, give or take, the Dallas Cowboys. So
Ooh.
that is our next episode. There are some fun things to discuss on that team. I'm very much looking forward to that discussion with you, brother. Outside of that, finish it off here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fantasy Football channel. We will catch you guys in the next one.